genre.
Welcome to the Doctor's Companion. I'm Scott Corelli.
I'm Cass Fredrickson.
And I'm exhausted.
Today, we are talking about the Series 2 finale, the Reality War, and spoilers, the 15th Doctor's final story. Which, yeah, I mean, I think we've been pretty good about not reading rumors and stuff, and all I was seeing after the fact when I was just like looking to see what people's reactions were people being like, oh yeah, this has been rumored for a long time, blah 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 blah, like, yeah, turns out the Billy Piper thing was true, blah 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 blah. And I was like,
the fuck,
what the fuck, why do you live, why do you people live like this? Like what? Like what? Like why do you guys need to fucking know everything? It's crazy. Anyway, as someone who had absolutely no idea that this was going to be a regeneration story, because why would it be?
Why would it be?
Yeah. Jesus.
You know, I was completely blindsided and kept waiting for like the other shoe to drop. Like I kept waiting for like the other thing to happen to take it away, to make it like, because you know Russell's not beyond a regeneration fake out.
Right.
He's done it before.
Mm-hmm.
It'll come up in our discussion today.
Iconically so.
Yes, absolutely. One of the best cliffhangers I would say in Doctor Who history is that cliffhanger. And in typical Russell fashion, the payoff of that cliffhanger, not so great.
But he shot Mr. Burns.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. But you know, the cliffhanger, oh man, chef's kiss. But yeah, this I was completely flabbergasted that they went for it. The Billy Piper thing came out of fucking nowhere for me. And we'll talk about all of that. But yeah, let's get like, so the way I want to, because I feel like if we don't do this, if we don't set this up ahead of time, we're not going to actually talk about the episode.
Yeah.
We're just going to talk about this. So here's how I want to do this. I obviously gave my initial reaction and feelings and thoughts. I feel like it's too soon. I feel like we barely fucking knew the guy. I feel like he was the Doctor for half the season last season. As we talked about, we were like, yeah, we're finally getting a first season where he's going to be, you know, the guy all the time because there's no scheduling conflicts, and it's going to be great. It's going to feel like a real season of the show just for him to, you know, fucking get it at the end. He is the first Doctor in history to not go up against the Daleks.
Oh.
Yeah. Which fucking makes me mad, honestly, because I feel like you're not the Doctor until you go up against the Daleks. Like, that's the thing. You know, Eighth Doctor notwithstanding, he had his own problems that, you know, that doesn't even
extenuating
count.
circumstances, you know?
Yeah, and he didn't regenerate before going up against the Daleks. You know what I mean? And technically, there were Daleks in the Time War, so there's something there. Anyway.
A few.
Yeah, right. I'm sure he's fucking popped a few. But the fact that Nishutigatwa never went up against the Daleks makes me fucking physically ill, I'll be honest. It just makes me very mad. Yeah, so I'm pissed about that. But like, yeah, just shocked. And I don't really like that he's gone already. Not because I'm not interested in what's going on next, but it just feels like what was the point of all that? Like, is kind of how I feel, you know? So I want to know how you guys feel about just that. Let's get those vibes out of the way. And then we'll talk about the episode leading up to that stuff. And then we can talk about like theories and all of that stuff for what all of this means for the future and all of that business on the back half of the episode. Cause I really do want to talk about the episode itself and I don't want it to be overshadowed. So let's start with overall thoughts. Nick, I'm going to start with you because I know you finished just now, like,
yes.
you know, just a few minutes ago. So this is all very raw for you. I watched this last night, which is why I messaged you guys and was like, hey, maybe we don't do 2 episodes because
lot to talk about.
I feel like the other episode's going to suffer a lot. Yeah. So, Nick, what are your thoughts? Like, just, you know, fresh as a daisy coming out of the end of this episode.
I share a lot of your sentiments, Scott. I feel cheated. Not to sound like a spoiled fan that just, you know, but like, yeah, I feel like you said, we barely knew the guy. I'm kind of being like, well, yeah, what the fuck? Like, is that all there is? Like, all of the god stuff, the pantheon, is that all just, are we supposed to just accept that that's done now? Is that going to carry over into whatever Billy Piper has in store? Yeah, it sucks that he never went up against the Daleks. I feel like we got less of him than Jodie, which is, I know that was a big criticism of us with 13, was like we were still, but that felt like, you know, she was the Doctor for like 20 years and yet did like also 5 episodes. It's like this weird paradox of time.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, but I understand, I guess, like, I mean, we'll hear plenty of BBC statements in the days to come that this was always the plan from the beginning, that Gatwa and Davis were like, oh yeah, let's do 2 years and then bounce. I don't know if RTD's coming back. But it just feels like it's like, oh, well, this is what happens when you cast a hot, young, up and coming 20-something actor as the Doctor. Like, he's like, hey man, I got shit going on. Like, I got other stuff to do. Like being the gay best friend in a fucking Benedict Cumberbatch, Olivia Colman rom-com, I guess.
Right. But what's weird about that, because you're right, that's what I thought too initially. I was like, oh yeah, maybe the schedule is just too much for him and he just like wants to do other things because he's young. And, you know, Matt Smith had the same problem, right? He was like, I'm blowing up and then I got to go do The Terminator, a movie that everyone will universally love.
Skynet. I am Skynet.
I got to play Skynet. But in the Doctor Who Confidential, which I watched this morning,
thank you,
Nishudi Gatwa was just like, you know, like it really takes a toll on your body, and I'm getting old, and I've been doing this a long time, and I'm like, what are you talking? You've done this for 18 months. What are you like? Capaldi was pushing 60 and did it for longer than you. What are you talking about? You're like 27 years old.
That's bullshit. That's insane.
Yeah. He's like, my knees are telling me it's time to go. He literally said that.
Oh, you fucking millennial bullshit. Like,
yeah,
you look incredible. You look like a Greek god.
Norman was saying that apparently both Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi needed knee surgery during their tenure as the Doctor, like on the same knee for the same injury. And I'm like, is it cursed? Like,
you do a lot of running.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's bullshit or if he's just like, I don't want to have knee surgery at before 30.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess fair enough.
You got to be like Cynthia Erivo, running like 5 miles every morning. At like 5 a.m. at the hotel gym. Yeah, I mean, like we'll get into our thoughts on the reality war, but yeah, no, I loved 15. I thought he was an iconic Doctor, and which is why I'm so angry. I just feel like his reign was so truncated and compromised by the kind of the circumstances of his era. It feels very premature, but then also for reasons that we'll get into. I mean, you guys, we've talked about over the years, I'm a huge fan of Billy Piper, the actor. Not just Rose Tyler, but also like Penny Dreadful, I Hate Susie. Diary of a Call, her episode in Bad Wolf in and of itself was kind of, we talked about how like, whoa, we barely scratched the surface. So I'm really excited to see what she has to do as 16 or whatever the hell we end up calling her or whatever that has to do. I'm very excited about that, but also feeling very miffed about 15's run. Cassim, I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
So I also did not have any idea that this was going to happen. I know we've talked about it on the show. We've like speculated like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if they did like if they completely recast the Doctor and we had no idea? Turns out I hate that.
Well, when it happens like this, when it happens so cuz like
For
Eccleston
a fucking
has less
baby no one cares about. Sorry.
Eccleston has less episodes entirely,
Mhm.
but like we got to the end of his era in Long Way Around and we were like, yeah. Like, would we love to see more of him? Would we have loved more adventures with Eccleston? Absolutely. Are we completely satisfied with his era as a whole and him as the Ninth Doctor?
Right.
Yeah. He goes out on a high note and you feel like, you want more, but you feel satisfied with the journey. And that is not how I feel with 15.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. The Daleks didn't even occur to me. And so now I'm mad about it all over again.
That fucking sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
It's so, I don't know.
There was a quote from Nishuti Gatwa, I think it was some point in season 1, I think, where he said that like he got the scripts or he got all the episode breakdowns and he said that he got really upset with Russell because there wasn't a Dalek episode.
Yeah.
Like he literally did like get upset. And he was like, it's the only thing that I'm really upset about is that like I'm not going up against the Daleks yet. And now we know that it's because he's never going to go up against the Daleks.
Sad.
Yeah. Unless he comes back to Big Finish because they're not going to hurt his knees.
His precious knees.
His precious knees.
I hated this. I am delighted to see Billie Piper again. But I do think it's interesting that no one is calling her the Doctor. So I don't know what that means.
Don't talk about that yet. We'll get to that at the end. That's going to open up a whole can of worms.
But yeah. His regeneration. I don't want him to go. I like like what it.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. I just don't understand why. If this was the plan from the beginning, why does it look like this? Is how I feel.
It kind of mars his whole run in retrospect, like way worse than I was anticipating.
Yeah.
And I think this is like my least favorite modern regeneration now.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I was fully expecting, there was a part of me, not fully expecting, but there was a part of me that was like, okay, set expectations that he's going to be another Sixth Doctor where we're never going to see his regeneration and the show's going to go dark for a while. And then we're just going to come back and it's going to be a new person. And we're just going to have to like deal with like filling that in with like fan shit later or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I was fully expecting that to happen. I was not expecting them to be like, we're just going to take him out now. Like, so crazy. It just feels wrong.
And even when he was like I thought they were going to fade to black when he, all the sparklies were coming,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have liked it better or worse if that were the case. I think I would have been a different kind of angry.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, because that's like a tradition, and like you don't want to fuck with the tradition of it.
Yeah.
But it is. Yeah, it's like I can't. It's hard for me to even process the Billie Piper of it all because I'm so upset about 15.
That's right.
And that it came out of fucking nowhere and was so ham-fisted into the end with a bunch of shit I don't care about. That ended up being a fucking retcon in the end.
Yeah.
Like that drives me fucking nuts. But let's talk about, that's a good place I think to talk about the lead up to his regeneration, which is the reality war as an episode, which I think like reminded me a lot of like the big bombast of like what is the episode, the end of the series 4 finale,
Journey's End with everybody.
Journey's End. It had kind of like a Journey's End feel where it was like, wow, a lot's happening, but all of that felt like it was building to something and all of this, whereas this was just like, we got to wrap this up. Like it felt like there was somebody off camera, like doing the wrap it up motion and they were just running around trying to like improv an ending to the season, like
Mickey Mouse with a construction hat is just off camera being like, motherfuckers better, you Limeys fucks better hurry because this whole thing's going down. Like,
yeah, right. I know. Yeah, like it really felt like an improvised ending to me. It didn't feel very well thought out. It didn't feel very well constructed. And I worry that that's because it just sort of got away from him. I don't know. Because, like, what the fuck was Susan doing in the last episode? Why was she there? Like,
I told you we wouldn't get a resolution on that.
What did that have to do with anything? Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, look, to seek into the reality war, in my opinion, besides a couple of pops that we'll talk, no pun intended, besides a couple of pops that I like that we'll talk about towards the end, one in particular, I think you guys know what I'm referring to. I think this makes Kingdom of Death look like the Big Bang.
Yeah.
I thought this was shoddy. It felt improvised, and I totally. There was this really sad moment when we were in unit, and like the bone creatures were attacking, and it was Rose was that was crazy. That was like, we're Nostradamusing this.
Yeah.
Whole season.
Although, did you notice? This goes back to what we're going to talk about at the end. He started calling her Rosie.
That's what they're gonna do. Oh shit! They were like priming us. They'd be like,
they're priming us that like there's gonna be 2 people named Rose, and one is gonna be Rose and the other one's gonna be Rosie. And that's how we're gonna talk about them together.
But absolutely, there was this really sad moment though where it was like unit and like everyone was there, and I was like, oh my god, I think he's trying to do Journey's End, but it's just reminding me how rushed and truncated. I don't know any of these people. I don't know Ruby. I don't know Belinda. I don't know Shirley. I don't know the Flinks. I don't know the hot guy. I don't know any of these people. And this is supposed to be their grand, I guess, era-ending finale. And it was just kind of like a really sobering moment for me. But I did not think very highly of this episode at all. It dragged on and on. And the decision to build it around a fucking fake wish baby is, I was rolling my eyes so hard throughout the episode, and a borderline character assassination of Belinda, which feels crazy because like she barely had a character the whole time. They managed to assassinate what little we knew about her.
God.
Cass, thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. So there was a moment in the, I guess, I don't even know if it was the climax of the episode. There was a moment where the doctor is like, I don't know. So there's a moment on the unit bridge, I guess, where the music cue stood out to me because I was like, that's a weird music cue. And it did not align with what I was feeling emotionally. And that to me was like the biggest red flag. Where it was, because, like I'm a slut for a Marigold score. Usually it's like on point. I think it was when Kate is talking about how like they're all the doctor's kids or whatever, and like there was that like there's like that like emotional swell of music, and I'm like, why is this here? And that's when I knew. I was like, oh, I am not into this episode at all. And then it like it just went. It went off the as soon as the Ronnie got eaten, I was out, and then it just kept going.
for like an hour.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not even to get into the way that I felt gaslit by like the last 20 minutes of this with
Yeah.
Belinda. Like, I don't understand how he wrote all of this in like kind of like a vacuum. Like he because he had already had this written when they were filming Rogue. So like I don't understand how, like I said earlier, if this is what the plan was all along, why is it this plan? Because this
Right.
plan sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess Rogue just died in hell.
Fuck.
So that's good.
Right. Amazing.
Love that we're never going to see him again, but
On
glad we
this,
got
the
to see him
first
on
day
the
of
TV.
Pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God.
Oh, Jesus. God.
Happy Pride, RTD.
Fuck.
So Mrs. Flood, I guess, is still out there?
Yeah, she's back to being the Ronnie, which I think that there's something going on there, which is to further deal with the bi-generation thing, which is to say, like, remember we had questions about 14 and whether he can regenerate now that he's bi-generated.
Mm-hmm.
Can now 14 regenerate separately? And I think that that's why the new Ronnie was eaten and the old Ronnie is still around, is because 14 is still around, even though 15 is now Rose. I think that's what's going on. I think we're going to backtrack to 14, and then 14 is going to regenerate into 16. That's what I think is going to happen.
But then that's even shittier, because then like what even is like 15's point? Like that just feels like he's erasing him. You know?
Well, I mean, he's always going to be the 15th Doctor.
But I guess it's so interesting because, like, I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't want to go out of order too much because, again, it'd be so easy to not talk about the reality war at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, let's go piece by piece. Let's start with the relatively minor things. Conrad fucking sucks. Bad ending to Conrad. I actually really liked your reality. What the fuck are you talking about?
That was insane. She's like, you know what?
You know what? It was actually kind of nice. What?
Disabled people were living in camps.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
The one trans person in the show was wiped out of existence. So I guess we could assume that happened to all of them. Like,
she only came back because the doors were open to the fucking Time Hotel, which was the stupidest fucking MacGuffin, I swear to God.
It could have been a lot worse. You're actually not that bad, Conrad. You have a nice soul. You made it like, what the? That was insane.
Insane. The Conrad stuff, that was the thing, is most of the stuff that they were setting up amounted to nothing, right? Susan, nothing. Conrad, nothing. Omega, nothing. I mean, what did we think about that? Like, that was when I was out. When he came out and he was a giant fucking... He was a giant
broom.
Yeah, but when he came out of there and he was a giant fucking monster... I was like, isn't this just? I literally thought it was Sutek again.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, oh,
claws.
Sutek's back, and it's like, no, this is supposed to be Omega, and it was dumb. It was dumb and bad.
And the explanation for it was 15 being like, you know, the Underverse is a land of legends, so Omega became a legend. He became the god of Time Lords or whatever, and I'm like, what does that mean though? Like, so much of this episode was in Chutagawa just making declarative statements that we just had to glide past in order to like accept the episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of exposition and like bad exposition, and like I would almost forgive it if it had been set up better, but like, why didn't you set it up better?
I truly thought when he came back to the show after writing like 3 incredible series of television. You know, I really thought like, oh wow, he's such a better writer now than he was when he got started. He's going to come back and he's going to blow us all away. And instead he's treating writing Doctor Who like a vacation from good writing. And it's just like first draft out the door because it doesn't fucking matter because it's Doctor Who and I can do anything. In fact, I'm going to introduce magic so I have to explain even less. And it's like, fuck you, man. Like, what? It's crazy. It's crazy. I am blown away by how lazy this was. Like you said, just 15 making declarative statements of exposition with no explanation whatsoever. Just being like, this is what it is. How? Why? Stop asking questions. We're moving on to something else. Yeah.
Wishes or dreams made of magic.
Oh my God.
So first things first. So that all this being said, I'll be guilty of letting out a hoot and a holler when Anita pops in to save the day.
Yes.
I was like, oh fuck, it's Anita. That's fun. Like, that's cool. And then it was like, she's pregnant.
Yeah,
I feel
like the actress must just be pregnant, and Russell was probably just like, fuck, you could be pregnant. Who gives a shit?
Okay,
like it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
criticism revoked. That's totally fine. Yeah. So yeah, Cass, were you happy to see Anita again?
Yeah. I liked seeing Anita. I did enjoy like the gang all together vibes, but it's just like. It was like watching like friends of friends get together instead of like my friends. You know what I mean?
Oh, what did both of you think of her jaunt through the Doctor's life, like popping indoors and seeing like 11 playing time chess and all that business?
That was fun.
It reminded me of when Clara goes into the Doctor's timeline. It was giving me those vibes, and I was like, okay. Because it's also like she was like watching the Doctor like dying on a slab surrounded by his greatest villains, and she's like, ooh, awkward, and then like shut the
door. And him dancing with Rogue and being like, oh, he's gay. And I'm like, that never came up.
Right?
Yeah. That you knew each other of like of Queen and Out. He never was like, oh, by the way.
I know. Like it wasn't clear. Like I don't know.
Oh my
God. And so Anita's like, yeah, May 23rd. Every time it gets to midnight, May 23rd, the day just resets. And the Doctor's like, of course. Every time it resets, the reality just gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and then it's gonna snap, and then the Underverse is gonna come out. And then Anita's like, sure. So. Everyone wakes up again. It's May 23rd, and the Doctor's like, I have to save my precious baby Poppy. She's the most important thing in the universe, the single most important thing I've ever done. And Anita's like, Poppy's not real. And the Doctor's like, you shut your whore mouth, your dirty hotel whore mouth. Poppy is the best thing to ever happen to me. She's the only thing that matters. And if I don't save her, then the entire 62 years of the show was for shit. And I was like, was there a scene in Wish World? Was there a scene with the Doctor being a dad to Poppy, or like a really sweet, cute scene, like in Jaws, you know, where Roy Scheider is like, give us a kiss. And you're like, oh, I really care about this father-son relationship. Like, I was like, Poppy was like a prop in Wish World, and now she's like the most important fucking thing in the history of the show.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is a baby genius, so you know.
Golly. So yeah, that was that. Yeah,
this whole episode felt like it was gaslighting me into caring.
Yes. Oh my God.
And it's like, and you're like, and it was just like, and clearly you care so much about this, right? The gay man wanting a biological child, and I was like, I don't. I want him to kiss the boy. Like I want him to go to hell and kiss the boy. I'm sorry, I don't.
I want him to 69 Rogue as they're jettisoning out of hell and into space.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
And
God.
And the fact that it was like the language was always like it was the doctor and Belinda's baby, like our baby. Don't worry, our baby's going to be safe. But it's like, are you guys? You guys are just mates. You're pals. Like,
yeah.
wouldn't that be fucking weird?
Yes.
I don't.
It's
Yes.
so weird. It's so weird. I also just feel like the whole time, you know, there was all those rumors about like, oh, like Poppy's gonna be Susan's mother or whatever, and that's gonna be the big reveal. And you know, obviously, like they do the whole thing and they make her human, and so she's not a Time Lord, and it doesn't nothing fucking matters. And nothing we just spent an hour watching matters. To say nothing of the 2 seasons that preceded it. But there's a very simple explanation that has already happened because Jenny is out there. Why can't Jenny just be Susan's mom?
Right.
The doctor's daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Georgia
She
Tennant.
exists. She's out there. She regenerated into herself, you know, like again, but like she did heal and she's out there somewhere. So why can't it be her? Like, why did we need all of this? Why did we have to pretend the Poppy was important? I mean, and nothing against the kid. She is fucking adorable.
Yes.
It is insane how fucking cute this kid is. But like, and just completely oblivious to anything going on around her.
Oh, she was so sleepy for all of this. And
Yes.
I was just like, oh, she needs a nap. Poor baby.
That didn't help either. Like again, I'm not criticizing the acting of a baby.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
make that very clear. But it just kind of hammered the point home that every time Belinda and the doctor and Ruby would be running around being like, this baby's the most important thing. I'll let the whole universe die if it means that my sweet Poppy will be safe. And the baby is just kind of like boredly looking off camera or like
Yes.
playing with a block. It just kind of hammered the point home for me of like, what are we doing?
Yeah, there was I guess, you know, at the end of the episode when he's using the Sonic to like scan her and figure out that she's human and is like she's 100% human, and then Belinda says, "What else would she be?" On set that day, the baby, the actor that plays Poppy, he was like, she's 100% human. Belinda says, "What else would she be?" And then the baby goes, "Doctor Who."
Oh,
And they both freaked out.
that's so cute.
Yeah. Which was really great. It was like she was allowed to speak in the Doctor Who Confidential, but not in the episode itself for some reason. Yeah. But yeah, so he's like, this is the most important thing because it turns out Time Lords are sterile because of the Time War, right? Specifically,
I don't know.
I think it was because of the Time War because
Okay.
they said something like they did something specifically that made them all sterile, and that's why bigeneration happened as a byproduct of, you know, Time
Nature,
Lord
life finding a
trying
way.
to find a way to like rebuild the Time Lord species, which is interesting, I guess.
Like the
Do
Black
we
Widows.
like any of that? Do we like that they're sterile?
I don't know why it's relevant.
Yeah, that's kinda how I
Aside from
feel.
the Susan of it all, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so why? So is the Doctor a Time Lord or not? Like, are they the timeless child or are they a Time Lord? And like, does that why like?
Yeah.
That was so weird. Yeah, thank you, Cass. Like, yeah, Scott shaking his head, like, because like this whole episode, the timeless child, that whole thing wasn't brought up once, and it just kind of felt like the time to bring that up.
Yeah.
And not only did it not come up once, but Jodie Whittaker is literally in this episode. And they're still like, we're not going to talk about it. We're not. There's why would we? There's no reason to bring it up. It's not relevant to anything that's going on or anything.
Oh my God. Like, yeah, no, if even if they had not brought it up at all in the entire 2 seasons, like this would be the time to bring it up. He's like, I'm not a Time Lord. I'm something else from another universe.
And then also, and thank you, Kat. And this is why I don't think the three of us are being pedantic nerds right now, because they bring it up in Space Babies.
Yes.
Right.
They bring it up repeatedly throughout his tenure.
Yeah.
Throughout the tenure, the Doctor goes out his way to be like, I'm not really a Time Lord. I'm adopted. I'm a foundling just like you, Ruby.
Yep.
You know, my mom was Tecteun, and I was
and
made
it
in
comes
the
up
lab.
once in this episode, because at the end when they give Joe Sunday adopted, and she's like, oh, he's a foundling like me, and he's like and me,
and
me.
And you're like, okay, so you recognize that you're not a Time Lord, that you're not a Gallifreyan, that you're something else, but you're not talking about it. I don't know.
It just feels like, like not even from not from like a nerd lore standpoint, from a like emotional character standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
That should factor in, because don't you want to see Omega Doctor? Don't you want to see the Time Lord? Like that doesn't affect your emotionality at all.
Right. How many times, like, writing our show, would we write ourselves into corners because we like, well, then they would want to talk about this, so like they need to, like, it needs to come up now, so how do we fix this, like, because we're like, naturally this is what they would talk about. Like, if they don't talk about this right now, it would feel weird and disingenuous, but that's like, not something that Russell T Davies gives a shit about. Apparently.
We actually can't put these two characters in a room because they would immediately want to have that conversation, and it's not time for that yet, so let's come up with a different plan.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
okay.
If Omega had been Tecteun, that would have slapped, honestly. Like just thinking about, like, because the Doctor is grappling with, like, parenthood, even if it's fake, and then, like, this founder of Time Lord Society who, like, abused this child from another universe is like, oh, my little doctor or whatever, like, but then it's a weird monster that eats the best
Time
Ronnie,
ladies.
so
I was just like, I was also just thinking when he's like, I'm in this universe and I'm going to eat all the Time Lords. I was like, well, there's 3 of them,
right?
So yeah,
snackies.
Yeah, like you're not going to live for too long. This isn't going to be a difficult situation for you.
I don't know.
I guess technically there's 3 left still if you count 14.
Right. That's true. That is true. So, well, now there's only 2 left because I don't think that Rose is anything but Rose.
It feels very pointed, in the credits that they just said, because they have done that before. It's kind of a tradition, even if it's a cheeky tradition, to say, and introducing so-and-so as the Doctor.
Right.
And they went out of their way to not do that, and introducing Billie Piper.
Period.
So,
end of statement.
Kind of feels safe to assume that she's not going to we're not going to look back on her as the 16th Doctor for whatever reason.
I agree. So, okay. So, the Ronnie's plan, dumb, backfires immediately.
Yes.
The Ronnie being eaten is stupid.
Yes.
What a waste. But I guess
a waste of that actor, a waste of
but at least we got, Mrs. Flood to carry on, so the Ronnie's still out there somewhere. The Ronnie's stupid little Count Dooku scooter that she drives around that the Doctor hijacks at one point, like, just the silliest thing I've ever seen, I think, and maybe a high point of the episode because of just how I was just like, well, at least I'm having fun with this. This is so stupid.
And, this could very well be the last episode of certainly the Disney era, if not the show ever. And so it was kind of like fun to see, like, oh, this is huge. This is epic, with like he's on the scooter and the big skull creatures and stuff's exploding. And I was like, okay.
I don't know that the phrase "this is epic, he was on a scooter" has ever been uttered.
This is epic. He's on a scooter. Oh man, I would have given if I could have Venmo'd Russell $100,000 or something. The montage of, like, we're all your children, and then it cuts to, like, Shirley, Kate, Rose. I was like, cut to the flex, please cut to the flinks, please cut to the flinks. Like,
Oh yeah, were you excited when he burst out of the burst out of the crate?
I was in the crate the whole time.
Yeah. That's so funny because that's what they do to animatronics at Disneyland when they're broken down. They just put a crate over them because they can't move them.
It's like Buzzy.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's what they do to the guy on the Millennium Falcon ride. Like when he's down and
DJ Rex?
Yeah. No. The Millennium Falcon ride, not Star Tours.
Oh, Hondo?
Hondo. Yeah, when Hondo's broken down, they just put a crate over him. And then he shows up like on the video screen instead as like the alternate, like the B mode or whatever. Yeah.
I think I've had that happen before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so the doctor he gets his memories back, and then he gets Belinda's and Unit's memories back, and the Flinks bursts out of his box, and Rosie blinks back into existence. Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, Rose, we were just talking about you." And the doctor's like, "Conrad could never have imagined you in 100 million years. Someone so trans and perfect. So we just blipped you out of existence." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess Conrad's a transphobe." We never.
Yeah, I mean, but it was a nice reality. It was actually a nice reality. I guess Ruby Sunday is like a J.K. Rowling defender. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, she's like the fucking the actress that plays Luna Lovegood. You know, where she's like, I just think both sides should listen to each other. You know. Oh God, fuck all of that. So anyway, I want an explanation as to how Mel rode her motorcycle from her house to the top level of Unit. Like, did she just like go into an elevator and then just park and wait and then drive out of the elevator? Because that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Why did that happen? Like, what is that was almost as stupid as I don't know what the fuck was going on with her wheelchair, but like when it just like zooms off.
Oh, that was insane!
Trail of flames.
Oh, her little turbo wheelchair. Yeah,
that was so dumb. And
it holds all the other actors' expression. Like, wow! And then you cut back and you just see like flaming, like DeLorean style tire marks.
Yes, insane, fucking insane.
So I guess. To find little bright spots when we can, Cass, we do get a brief little tete-a-tete between the Ronnie and Mel.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
I love how like Mel's just like, I didn't think about you at all, and the Ronnie's like, you thought about me every night, and I'm like, what does that mean? I want to know more about what this means.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm writing my fan fiction as we speak.
What is it? What does she call her? Like a little China doll, a little painted doll?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
like a dress-up doll or something.
Yeah, which is a weird thing to call Mel of all people. Something.
Yeah,
like
I'd
that.
call like Perry that, not Mel.
Yeah, Perry. I like. Almost like the Ronnie was confused about which one she was talking to.
It doesn't matter.
I like the part. Speaking of, I like the part where Ronnie was like, "It was easy. I just found a stupid blonde girl and just waited for you to show up."
That was good.
I wanted more of like the Ronnie's attitude in this episode than the Ronnie's attitude in last episode. Like it felt more like the jabs felt more pointed instead of manic. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
They felt like constructed versus like the Master's like mania.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
She was a little too mastery in the last one, I think. Yeah.
I think Mel has the line of like, she's worse than cruel. She's indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter because she got eaten by a skeleton monster. But I think any opportunity to differentiate the Ronnie from the Master was like welcome in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else. This
was weird. The doctor says so the unholy trinity has mostly been a fan term. Like
Well, no, it was RTD that said it. I think.
Yeah, like on it was basically it was on Instagram, social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The unholy trinity is coming, and then the fans were like, "Oh, who's on the show?" We were like, and then the doctor, because I think he says the unholy trinity for the first time, like in the show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he definitively says that it's Conrad, the Ronnie, and Omega. Right? Or is it the two? Because the way he worded it was like, wait, that's weird. For a second, I thought that he said it's the Ronnie, Mrs. Flood, and Conrad. But it's like, no, RTD on Instagram said that wasn't the unholy trinity.
Yeah, I thought it was the Wish Baby. I forget. I always forget what the Wish Baby's name is. But
Desiderium.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Desiderium.
Yeah.
Wish baby. There's two wish babies in here.
Too many babies in this episode.
Yeah. But the fact that Conrad is included in that is insane. That's like what? I thought his universe wasn't so bad, Ruby. God. That sucked so bad. And there was nothing about that scene. She was just like, you had real feelings for me. I could tell. And he was just like,
sure. Then they cut to the 3 scenes in Lucky Day where they kissed.
Yeah.
Because that was our criticism of Lucky Day, was they kind of just like glazed through the part where they were dating.
Yeah.
You know? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just nothing about that scene was good. Like it just felt like I don't know. Then she says something. Maybe she's like, "Oh, it was kind of nice," and I just feel like Russell's just like wasn't thinking about the ramifications of what he was saying half the time.
Yeah,
you know, of like what he was writing. Where it's like, wouldn't it just be nice? Like maybe they just need to be happy. Maybe that's the problem. And it's like, no, that's what they want to be happy by fucking making everybody miserable. Like that's what they want. What?
So now he's just a barista? Is he still transphobic? Is he still racist? Is he still
I assume so.
God.
We'll never know. Hopefully
we never saw him.
Know.
We never saw him be any of those things in his episode appearances. We just kind of had to decode it from his actions. Is he an ableist still? Was he an ableist in Lucky Day? What was that like?
I don't know. I truly don't know.
Boy. So Omega eats the Ronnie, or one half of the Ronnie, and then the doctor grabs the Vindicator and again like just shoves him back into hell with a broom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, while screaming. While screaming, like firing something that doesn't appear to like require effort on his behalf. So it's not like I'm not sure why the screaming is happening.
Sure, it's not like a Kamehameha wave where it's like...
Yeah, right. That's later.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's later when he says Hadouken to the whole universe. And then regenerations of Billy Piper.
All-time flex.
God.
Yeah.
Well, do you think he just saw 13 and he was like, oh, God, I was hot. I want to be blonde again.
Maybe. Could be.
So, yeah, Omega, we get the Upside Down gets a shout out. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, Narnia, the Upside Down. It's all the Underverse. Like, those are two very different places.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say. Narnia doesn't seem inherently evil. I don't know.
Oh boy. And so Omega's gone, R.I.P. Omega. And then then the doctor, but then and then I was like, okay. And I click on my phone. I click on my remote and there's like 45 minutes left of the episode. And I was like, huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then of course, listeners, the thing becomes, well, we can't, Poppy has to exist. We can't, none of this matter. And it was just I felt so bad for Varada Sethu of just having to create the like for the whole season. She was just kind of this like 20-something chill nurse that wanted to go home because she's like, yeah, it's not much, but it's my life. And now she just has this fake wish baby that is her entire purpose of being and her mega want and like all that matters to her. And it felt like the character had been brainwashed.
Yes.
Or like, I was like, this isn't you. Like, why? You never even wanted to, you never once mentioned even wanting to be a mother or that being like a thing. And so for it to just be the thing for her just felt kind of gross.
Yes.
But it gaslights us in the end to be like, oh, this was always like this. We just never showed you those clips. I was like, that's not a
That's
twist.
not true.
That's just lying.
Yeah.
Like you're just lying to us. Like what? Like I would have been totally fine if this was a season about him traveling around with a mother and he's got to get her home to be with her kid. Like I'd be totally fine with that. But then we wouldn't have had all of this like, she's my daughter. Don't you know what that means? It doesn't mean anything, as it turns out. But that's like, you wouldn't be able to have all of that if they had just been honest from the beginning.
Right.
But at least then Belinda would have been a more interesting more three-dimensional character. Instead, she's forced to be a two-dimensional character the whole time and then retconned a third dimension that feels so irrelevant to everything else that we know about her.
Right.
Because he was just hiding it from us, you know?
Yeah. And
yeah.
Like I think if this like reality or whatever, like this timeline with as was portrayed in the show up to this point was like supposed to be wrong in some way, which is like a whole other issue. But like if she had like, if there had been a couple of moments where she would be like, oh yeah, like Poppy, and then the doctor's like, oh, who's Poppy? And she's like, oh, I don't know who you're, like, you know, like when like if there's cracks in the in her memory.
Right.
And she's like confused by that. Like at least then it would have felt a little more, I don't know, like set up instead of like, I don't know. Cause like and
why is she named the same as the baby from Space Babies?
Right.
That's never explained.
Yeah. And does that mean that the baby in Space Babies was that like fake the entire time? Like,
right.
We're supposed to like, when we were talking about it a couple weeks ago with the story and the engine, we were all like, who? Because Sky, you were the only one who recognized the baby, and like that's supposed to be like a big thing. But like if she had been like seeing her daughter, I guess, the entire time without understanding that's who she was, I feel like that would have been,
yeah.
Because then when you see her with the baby, it's like, oh, like, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So at the end of the episode, when 15 is like, the whole time you were trying to get home to your baby, and it cuts to like her in the dress from Lux being like, I miss my baby, or her, you know, dying in the Midnight sequel, and she's like, my baby, like, and then the whole time you just want to get back to your baby, of course. Like that's a that's a universal retcon, right? Like that's
yeah.
Because like we're not to believe that when we were watching Robot Revolution off camera in her like apartment with her three roommates, there was a crib, right? Like she wasn't, that version of Belinda wasn't a mom,
right? Yeah, because like it can't be, it can't have been that, because that just doesn't check out in any way whatsoever. And so it's like we were in a different universe, a wrong universe, and then a wronger universe. And now he like fixed it with the regeneration energy by merging them all or something. I'm not really sure.
That's
so,
that's my question. 'Cause like,
yeah.
I don't know. This is the stupidest sentence I think I've ever uttered. But like, so what's the deal with Mavity? You know,
like, has Mavity been restored?
Is Mavity gravity now? Like, so this entire time with 15, has that been like the off kilter reality. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I do. I don't. I can't imagine that's the case because I just don't. If this is all that it was building toward, like, who gives a shit? Like, why
Yeah.
did we do any of this?
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Maestro, Lux,
Right.
The goblins.
the goblins,
Yeah.
the toy maker. Like,
it doesn't feel like any of that culminated in any way whatsoever. The tooth is still out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't even know who that was. Apparently it wasn't Mrs. Flood. I don't know who it was.
What if it was Rose?
Yeah.
It was Rose.
Yeah. Maybe it was Rose.
So like, yeah, like if Rose were to visit Belinda next season, whatever,
Yeah.
is Belinda going to be back at her apartment as a nurse, or is she going to be like, this is my baby Poppy, I'm a mom?
No, I think she's a mom now. I think they just.
There's something so gross about that, of like,
Yep.
she started the season just like a nurse wanting to get home, and now she's a mom with a baby and she loves it and it's not a problem at all. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what the point of Belinda wasn't at all. Like, I don't know why we just didn't keep Ruby Sunday. If this was only going to be 2 series, like, why introduce another character? Like, why do that? Because it clearly, Poppy being the baby from Space Babies has no bearing on the plot whatsoever, right? So it could have been any baby that you're retconning to make the companion a mother now. It didn't have to be Poppy from Space Babies. So, like, also, like, is there something here where it's like Poppy, Rose, they're both like flowers?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Is there something happening there? I don't know. I was thinking about that last night too. I was like, that,
hey, wait a second.
you know, like similar to like the river pond thing, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Poppy Rose. I don't know. But also yeah, no. That's poppies are different. Right? Are poppies like dandelions where you can like blow them and
No.
seeds go everywhere?
No, they're different.
Okay.
Poppies are what almost kills Dorothy in Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Poppies.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm shifting.
Because like the last week when there was the almost like a body horror aspect of like having a child but not remembering giving birth to said child, which is one of the things that I hate about Amy Pond when she went through a similar thing. And now, like, to me, because we're even having this conversation, it's unclear whether or not Belinda was like actually in like the prime timeline if she had the baby. So like that there's that added, like, because I don't know, like her first episode is about like her dumping an incel like gross boy and who wants her to be married and have his kids and whatever and like be a nice little housewife, and like, yeah, she's still a nurse and has a career, and like, I'm not disparaging single mothers, but also like it I don't know, it just feels like a character assassination, and
she didn't ask for this. In fact, she was specifically not asking for this, it seemed like, at the beginning.
I don't know.
But I guess he's trying to say that was the wrong universe. So it was,
I don't know.
It was like something was like making her be that way or something. But that's weird. It's a weird thing to pull, and it doesn't have anything to say about anything, you know?
And that's, and maybe that's what I find gross is like, you know, between that and the Amy Pond thing with Stephen Moffat, there is just something weird about male writers incepting their female characters with fertility, like giving the young kind of like roguish female characters like babies to settle them down. There's just something like tricking, but weird psychic lie babies,
right?
Like,
yeah.
Boy, oh boy. So Ruby.
Yeah. Oh, the only one who remembers Poppy. Why? I don't know. I know it has something to do with 73 yards, but like,
Yeah,
it's very strange.
It's okay. Yeah, because we were watching the episode, and she's like, "Why am I the only one who can remember?" And then Norman looks at me and he's like, "Didn't they answer that last week?" And I was like, "I honestly don't know."
So the answer that we all seem to surmise, at least the answer that I got when she was at the camp with the people, and she's like, "I remember 2025. It wasn't like this." And then it cuts to 73 yards. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense because like she lived past this year. So she knows, a part of her remembers this isn't what 2025 was supposed to be like.
Right.
But then it kind of extended into like, why does Ruby remember Poppy? And it kind of just made the Belinda thing even weirder because she's just so readily just like, what baby? I don't need a baby. Let's party. Blah, 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 blah. Like, oh my God, my baby. Of course I remember my baby. And it was just kind of like, it took her volition away in a really creepy way.
I thought what was going to happen was like he was going to bring Poppy back and she was going to go back to the Space Babies episode where she fucking belongs. Like, I thought that's what was going to happen. Like, it's so weird that she was supposed to be with Belinda. That doesn't make any sense. And that's why I think there's like a weird, when he regenerated the timeline, I feel like he merged them. And I'm wondering if, like, I think that Rose is from that Bad Wolf Bay universe, the other universe.
Oh.
And that I think it's that Rose. I think that something happened where, like, she ended up, like, she's been trying to get back to this universe or whatever. And when she merged the universes, she just showed up in his place. Because, you know, that's the only other time that, like, that he's ever like quote unquote bi-generated, you know,
right?
With the hand. So like she's with another version of 10, technically the 11th Doctor, technically.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. I feel like something happened there where it is Rose. It's that Rose, the one from that universe, got pulled into this universe, which is why she says, "Oh, hello," because she's looking at the TARDIS. Because she's like, oh my God, I did it. I'm here. You know, I think that's what it is. I don't think she's the Doctor. Because I think they would have said introducing Billie Piper as the Doctor if that were the case.
You're right.
So I think she's Rose. I think she comes from that universe. And I'm also wondering, what if that universe is the universe the Timeless Child comes from?
Oh shit.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They didn't say which universe the Timeless Child comes from, just that it's from another universe.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe it's that one. And, you know, that universe really didn't want the Doctor there and was like, you
get
the fuck out. And, you know, maybe there's something to that. I don't know. But now merging them all because he regenerated the timeline, I'm just now wondering if like all of that just sort of, now it's all conflated into one universe, and that's what's going on.
I guess the only downside for that, and this is just like me, Nick, just in my head.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, hello. The first thing that popped into my head when Rose Tyler showed up on my screen, or, you know, when Billie Piper showed up and she was like, hello, I was like, oh, wow. Oh, cool. I want to see Billie Piper get to play a cool new character. Like, what's her Doctor like, you know? Because like in Bad Wolf, when she was playing Bad Wolf, it was so different than Rose, and like her and Penny Dreadful, and, you know, she's such a chameleon. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. She gets to play like a cool, what's her quirky Doctor going to be like? And so I'm inherently a little less interested in her just being Rose, but also what's new, what's 40 something Rose like, you know, that could still be, that could still be something.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are we going to see Jackie again?
Probably. Why not? You know? Yeah, I think she's just Rose. I really do. I feel like maybe that's boring or whatever, but like I feel like if she was the Doctor, she wouldn't look like Rose. But they like went out of their way because she's looked like all kinds of people, like since being Rose, you know?
Right.
So like the fact that they're like, no, she's gonna have Rose's haircut, Rose's hair color, like I was like, she's Rose. Like I think she's Rose. And I think there's a reason for that, and there's going to be, look, I've talked about this before. I don't remember if I've brought this up on the show before, but I've definitely talked to you guys about this. And I've long believed the reason that they brought David Tennant back and kept him around and did the bi-generation is so that you can have two doctors running around, one that carries the TV show and one David Tennant who gets to make Doctor Who movies. And I think that's what they're doing here. I think that's what the setup is. They're like, what could be more exciting than bringing David Tennant and Rose, gag, back together?
Sorry, Scott.
Yeah, back together on the big screen. And it's like Rose and Donna and the doctor, David Tennant's doctor, and they're all back together again doing a big screen Doctor Who adventure. And I'm wondering if that's what all of this is and why there's going to be such a long wait. Because I also wonder if he did regenerate, if 15 regenerated legitimately, then what if 16 is wherever Rose was?
Oh, so they like swapped.
Maybe they swapped. Maybe something happened where they swapped and 16's just, maybe the universes didn't get conflated. There was just like a hole that she got sucked through and swapped with with 16. And now there's an alternate David Tennant who's also aged and is also in his 40s, an alternate 10 in the Bad Wolf universe,
right,
with whoever the 16th Doctor is.
My wife.
Just...
and then Billy Piper and Rose is in this universe and has to track down, 14 and Donna. And there you go. I don't know.
Tom Hiddleston's going to wake up on a beach.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's better than a chair, as he'll say.
What? Doctor, it's me, Rose Tyler. Wow.
Oh boy.
God.
Anyway.
Oh boy.
Oh, can we talk about Jodie Whittaker?
Can we please? That was lovely. I was happy.
Can I just say it? That's the best written she's ever been.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was going to say this.
I was like, holy shit, she's the Doctor. Like, it was instantaneous. She came in, Russell was like, no, I'm going to give her exact energy, her little weirdo science, like engineer energy, but like, I'm going to dial it up to 11 and I'm going to write her and show what makes her special. And I was like, why in 3 fucking seasons could Chibnall never do this? Like, crazy. It was instantaneous. I was like, fucking there she is. And it's right there on the tip of her tongue because she's doing Big Finish audios now. So
nice.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna check those out. But no, I mean, you guys know how I feel about 13. She's the only Doctor who I have art of on my wall. I love her in spite of her episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved, and I thought their back and forth was really lovely. And then Cass called this out on Discord, but the heartbreaking like I love you, and like, whoa, we say that, we can say that. I should say that to Yaz. You don't. You really fumble her bad, bro.
Come on.
Oh, do I? Oh.
Russell, and then Russell just like writes like an editor's note. Sorry, Chibnall, but you did.
He's not sorry.
Yeah, I loved that scene. I thought it was really, really nice, and I thought it was great. I think they are currently the 2 most controversial Doctors in the show's history, and to have them both interact and talk about how great each other are was like, it was just kind of nice. I was like, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. I like that.
I think that like, because I think like all the signs were there that this was going to be a regeneration episode as soon as they started showing like the past Doctors. And I guess I should have clocked it when she showed up, but like seeing them, like seeing her again, like made me excited to revisit her stuff. I'm going to be eating my words eventually, but
to see her again, to see 13 again.
Because I also love her in spite of her episodes.
Yep.
She and Ncuti both deserve better.
Mhm.
But I don't know.
So now that we're 2 eras deep from Twice Upon a Time, we're 2 eras away from Twice Upon a Time from the Moffat era, when things kind of went wonky to a lot of viewers, including us to some degree. The commonality seems to be writers that were from the old eras of the show, Chibnall and RTD2. And I think by and large, all three of us, if we were to suss out episode by episode, I think this was a more enjoyable, fun era of the show than the Chibnall episode, the Chibnall run.
Sure.
But it ended up not amounting to much. And
Right.
it wasn't this big grand saga like maybe we wanted it to be when the giggle dropped and we were like, what the fuck? They're cookies cooking.
Right.
So I really hope that when the show comes back in 2027 or 2028 or whenever, I really hope it's with someone who hasn't written for Doctor Who before. That's now my new super wish.
I think it's Russell. I don't think Billy Piper comes back for anyone
Without
else.
Russell. No, for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it'll be Russell. But maybe it'll be movies, and then that'll be done, and then we'll get a show again with a new person.
16 or whatever.
Yeah, with 16. Well, I meant a new writer.
A new writer, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, without Russell at that point. Maybe he'll finally put like the final kibosh on everything and then be like, okay, now I'm done. That would be nice. But worth noting, Billy Piper does not come up in any of the behind the scenes stuff. They don't mention her. They don't talk about it. They don't even, they're like, yeah, no, he regenerates. And then end of statement. Like they don't say, yeah, they don't bring her up at all. She's not interviewed. She's not talked about. She's not discussed. So like clearly something is going on that is not the norm. And I think it all adds up to her definitely not being the Doctor.
Interesting.
And something else is happening, I think. So my theory is that it's a Doctor Who movie that'll come out in 2027. That's my guess, but we'll see. Either way, if the show is coming back, I would bet everyone's like, oh yeah, like it's going to take a year off. I was like, I think it'll be Christmas of 2027 before we get a new episode. Yeah. Yeah.
Even that feels like, because that implies that they have a plan, and I don't believe that anymore. Like,
yeah,
I think they're in full back to the drawing board right now, because I think they were maybe expecting this to be, certainly hoping it to be like a runaway ratings hit, like after kind of losing a lot of bleeding viewers throughout 12 and 13's run. And for whatever reason that hasn't happened, I think it has mostly to do with the writing and the buzz. I think if these had just been stellar out of the park, holy shit episodes, I think word of mouth would have spread and people would have come back. Of course I don't think it's because of woke and any of that bullshit. It's not even worth verbalizing. But
I think it's the 8 episodes. There's no room for special pops. Like there's no room in 8 episodes for, Human Nature, Family of Blood, or Silence in the Library, or Dr. Dances, or any of these episodes where they're like, holy shit, did you see that? Did you see that episode? Like, wow. Like there's no room for that. Like there's no room for a standout singular episode. And half of them were written by Russell T Davies, and he doesn't have any juice left in the tank in Doctor Who. Like he just doesn't. He doesn't, clearly. He had to basically reinvent the show to make himself interested. By like adding all the magic shit, know? And I just don't know, man. I'm with you, Nick. I hope somebody new comes along and is like, oh, I have a take on the show. Like, let's do this.
'Cause the 2 episodes, correct me if I'm wrong, like the 2 episodes across these 2 seasons that I feel like the 3 of us were most excited about were Rogue, which wasn't written by Russell T, and the Story in the Engine, which again was not written by him. So like, I don't know, bring any of those people back.
of the Russell episodes, I think the best Russell episode is 73 Yards.
I forget that's him.
Yeah, that was him, and that's the only one of his episodes that I was like, oh, I really liked that a lot. That was cooking. That was doing something different. And because it felt like the Russell that had written those miniseries that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I think all 3 of 14's episodes were really, really
Yes.
cool and really fun.
Yes. In their own way. They were all very unique in that way too. But man, but in terms of 15, it's like, Rogue, Story in the Engine, and then 73 Yards. I think, and I really like Boom a lot.
Yeah, I like Boom.
And that's kind of like, that's it.
Wait, you know what we haven't talked about yet? So the Doctor is regenerating, and he's like, oh, I really wish I didn't have to do this alone. Wait,
and
I don't have to do it alone. And it's that poor woman that killed herself on Christmas.
God.
And turned into a star forever. So it's even actually worse than killing yourself, because now she's just stuck as a star forever. And he's like, joy to the world! And then he dies. And then he regenerates. And I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot about that. I forgot about the woman that...
I thought I didn't even take that as a literal thing. I thought he was being like...
No, that's joy.
Like, yeah, I know. I thought he was just being like, the universe is my family. Like, I thought... It was like I was like rolling my eyes. I didn't realize like how bad that was. Wow, yikes. My favorite friend, my bestest favorite friend, Joy, the Star of Bethlehem,
the Star of Bethlehem herself.
What if you just been like, I love Jesus, and
I love Jesus. Whoa! I accept Christ into my heart. Whoa!
Oh my God.
And then Russell and like in at the end and like in the whatever Doctor Who Unleashed, it's just like, yeah, I'm born again Christian.
So should Doctor Who. He should be born again.
Ash Wednesday cross. If you're mad about it, blame Stephen Moffat. He's the one that made me a believer.
It's true. Oh, I'm a Christian now. You didn't know that. It's another.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. So there was one other thing that I wanted to bring up that I was like, there was like something that we hadn't touched on yet that I was like, oh man. Because there's just so much in this.
So we got Rosie, Joy's.
Oh,
Star.
I remember.
Oh, please,
Anita mentioning the boss says
the boss.
Hi.
The boss is hot.
It's the boss is Susan, right? Like it's got to be.
I like that.
Got to be.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
That's clean.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Why not?
She runs the Time Hotel.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
well, no, because it's the boss. It's the boss. I think it's the boss. Like, what's her face? The alien from the first episode.
Beep.
Yeah, the Meep. Yeah, the Meep said like the boss. You know, like I work for the boss or whatever, and so I think.
Oh my God, I want to see Beep the Meep in a little hotel uniform so bad now.
Yeah. I don't know that they work for the Time Hotel.
Welcome to the Time Hotel.
I don't disagree. I want to see that too, but I think I'm more interested in like, what if like Susan has a TARDIS and like the Meep is her companion?
Oh my God.
And it's just Susan and the Meep in a TARDIS together.
Oh, Meep. Oh, Meep the Beep.
Oh, man. Anyway.
Cass, and so we have War Between the Land and the Sea coming in 2026.
I think.
I bet. I'd be really surprised if it comes out this year.
I could see it coming out like really late this year. It's only 5 episodes.
Okay.
So I didn't see it. Yeah.
I didn't think Stranger Things was coming out this year, and I was wrong about that.
Yeah. That's true. So maybe that'll come out this year or early next year. Who knows? 5 episodes. From the little teaser that they released, it seems like reminds me of that really good season of Torchwood. Children of Earth. Yeah.
The really depressing one.
Yeah, the really depressing, really good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of tonally. So I was like, okay, maybe this could be okay. Maybe we'll see.
I don't know.
Really cool makeup on the retcon of the Sea Devil.
Oh, that's exciting.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It looks really good. Yeah, Cass, look it up so that you can
freak out
I
about
want your
it.
reaction.
Yeah, I love the Sea Devils. Are we going to talk about that on the Patreon when it comes out?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah.
Like we did with Class.
Right, like we did with Class.
Oh, Class.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, yeah, the Hooniverse.
They're just like weird little fish people.
Yeah. I think that's the what's her face? Remember we were like, how are they bringing Martha's sister into the?
She's playing the Sea Devil.
Yes,
I think she's playing the Sea Devil. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like her.
Yeah. I really like the makeup. I think it's really beautiful.
It looks cool. It looks like
yeah.
It's like Shape of Watery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's and it's also like you see this in the teaser, but they have the Sea Devil thing and it's a mask. That
okay, that's
armor.
fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the Silurians.
Right, exactly,
okay,
like the Silurians. Because
okay.
I'm sure they'll deal with the fact that they're like sibling species or whatever. Yeah. But
gosh,
anyway.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, and no date, no release date.
No date.
Russell
said soon-ish, coming soon-ish.
Great.
Yeah.
So yeah, R.I.P. 15.
R.I.P. Doctor Who for the foreseeable future. A lot of long way around in our future, guys. I guess. And speaking of that, next week we're right back to where we left off on Long Way Around. I think we've got the final Charlie Pollard story is what we're talking about next week. The Eighth Doctor. Cass made a face because we recorded that like 6 months
ages ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that comes out next week. So find out about everything that happens in the rest of the Eighth Doctor Charlie Pollard era. And then in her final story. So that's next week, and we'll wrap up Long Way Around. I think we wrap up Long Way Around with the first 13 Doctor. Of course, we recorded that before she came back for this, so we don't referencing that at all. Though it would be funny if Nick just like in a very Nick fashion just throws out like yeah, who knows, maybe 13's in the finale, like we don't know, you know, like he does that sometimes.
On the Discord would be like, yeah, we'll call it out.
Nick called that. But I think in that episode I say that we're not taking a break and then we're going to be back the next week. Well, I'm going to be a dad, and so I made the executive decision that we're going to cut one season of Long Way Around this year. Really sorry, but like it just wasn't going to be doable before the baby got here.
Your space baby.
My poppy, my space baby.
But not fake, like a real baby.
Yeah, a real baby. Not pretend.
Sorry, Belinda.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not retconning Bethany into being a mother, and always has been.
Did it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. You know, it really wasn't so bad. It could have been worse. You know, the world really could have been worse. But yeah, I'm having a baby, and so I'm taking some paternity leave from the podcast. So we are going to take a little bit of a break at the end of the Long Way Around season that we finish up right after, like starting next week. After, what is it? The Woman Who Fell to Earth. We're going to take like I think 2 months off, and then we're going to be back with another batch of Long Way Around that we've already recorded that will be out through the what is that, 62nd anniversary. Basically our season will end on November 23rd. I
have a question.
Yes.
So now that 15 is over, when are we?
We're not.
No,
there's not going to be. We're going to be done before we would get to him, because we can't get to him before we get to 14, and we can't do 14 until 10's over, and 10 has a lot of episodes.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so we're just not going to do it, I think.
I thought for a second, like, we're not. Fuck that whole era.
No. We'll be done with everything in Long Way Around by the time we would come back.
Oh my God, that's wild. Okay.
14 and 15. Yeah.
Crazy.
So, yeah. Just side effect of the way we're doing things.
Mm-hmm.
He's 32.
Maybe we could revisit it in like a special down the line, like just like rewatch each season and just talk about them as a whole or something sometime down the line. But yeah, won't be happening then. Next year we will be celebrating our 500th episode.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll be coming next year. So that's exciting. And then on the Patreon whenever we probably will have pre-recorded, so we won't be able to like hype it necessarily. But when the War Between the Land and Sea comes out, if you want to hear our thoughts, we will be doing that on Patreon. So whenever it comes out, just know on Patreon we're over there talking about it. Hopefully it doesn't happen right after my daughter is born. My daughter is dorn. I think that's what I just tried to say. So anyway, anything else? Any other? Do we want to RIP 15?
Goodbye.
I stand by what I've always said. I hope he's the only Doctor to ever have new outfits in every episode. I want that to be his thing. I want that to be special just to him.
Right.
Because I think it's important to let him have a special thing that isn't just crying,
Right.
Or being gorgeous.
Or being gorgeous, or having a mustache. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It still doesn't feel like real because I didn't feel like emotionally prepared for it.
I know. Yeah. It really felt like a sucker punch.
Yeah.
And Chudigawa, you better be in 3 goddamn movies a year.
I know.
Minimum. I feel like they're gonna announce that he's like the lead in some TV show or something, and he's like, I wanted to do this, like, and then that's it, I don't know, but maybe he'll be like on an HBO show or something.
Ooh, what if he's Professor X?
The Shurigawa?
Yeah, they go real young.
Oh man, that would be crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. He could be Angel. He could be
Angel.
Yeah, he could be Angel. Yeah, I could see him with wings. Being a himbo rich boy.
What's that guy's name? Wendell
Worthington.
Worthington. Yeah, it's Warren Warrington. Warren Worthington or something. Yeah. Warren Worthington III, I believe.
That's the whitest name I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. So wouldn't it be really funny if a gay black man was playing it?
Yeah, I know, but that's worth noting too. He broke a lot of barriers in his short tenure as the Doctor. He did it with panache and style and grace. And the reason we're so pissed is that he was an exemplary Doctor.
Yes,
and it was so much fun seeing him in the role. We wish it was longer.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, and also when he magically turned into going from a suit into a kilt, I was like, don't really like that. I don't really understand what happened there.
It was like he was self-serious that moment.
Yeah, I know. It was like, I get it. You want to regenerate in a kilt, like more power to you, but like you could just put one on. It doesn't have to be magical.
To go back to what Cass said about being like a Murray Gold slut.
Oh yeah.
Whatever piece of music was playing during his regeneration was gorgeous. I loved that score. I don't think I'd ever heard it before, but it was really good. We're probably never going to hear it again because I guess that was like his death music.
I gotta go back and listen to that. They did announce that the composer for War of the Land and Sea is going to be, what is his name, Nick? Lorne something?
Lorne Balfe?
From Mission Impossible.
Wow, that's a get.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty
That's
cool.
a vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
So that's something. All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week where we're back to the Long Way Around. And then we'll have another round of Long Way Around. And then next season, or next year, we'll be back to our regular schedule of Long Way Around. Probably 3 or 4 a season, 3 or 4 a year, just to try and get these done before I'm 50 fucking years old.
War Between Land and Sea probably going to be a weekly release, right? They're probably not going to dump it all on Disney Plus.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. They haven't said. Well, it's a BBC thing, so probably not. It'll probably be weekly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, we'll talk to you next week to talk about whatever that Charlie Pollard. Where are we? Let me go look at what the actual episode is that we're talking about. The girl who never was. And we're not talking about Poppy.
Just like Poppy.
All right. Bye, everybody.